How are you, David? Hi.
Hi, I am happy and excited to meet you.
Likewise, likewise. I'd like to introduce myself formally. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. First off, I'd like to say thank you very much for taking the time. I know it's 11 p.m. on your end and it's 12 p.m. for me. So I'm at the advantage here. But again, thank you very much. And I can't wait to learn from you. Okay. So I'd like to read a bit of introduction for our listeners, and then we can get right into the conversation. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Your Worthless podcast. Today, we have the distinct pleasure of introducing a guest who is not only a powerhouse in the world of digital creation and content strategy, but also a celebrated gospel recording artist and educator. Joining us today is none other than David Griffiths, also known as David the Digital Creator. David is a name that resonates with over 1.5 million followers across social media platforms. His journey is a testament of the transformative power of faith, perseverance, and strategic content creation. From his roots as a dedicated church member and small group fellowship leader to becoming a sought after coach and mentor in the digital space, David has continually pushed the boundaries of what's possible when you combine passion with purpose. In today's episode, David will share insights into how he has managed to build such a large and engaged following, the strategies he uses to simplify content creation, and the ways in which faith has played a central role in his journey. Now, whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or someone just starting out, David's wisdom and experience are sure to provide valuable takeaways that you can apply to your own life and business. Wow. Welcome, David.
Welcome.
Okay. Before we go into the serious side of things, right? Can you share with us what was it like growing up as a David Griffiths?
What was it like growing up as a David Griffiths? Wow. Well, it was always being introduced to new environments where I was different. Yeah. So my dad was a professor and a pastor, and he was actually often the first African American. So he was the first African American head of the English department at La Sierra University, first African American dean of the graduate school. So I was different places. I was always enjoying being a unicorn, as it were. And it was great because I got to meet different people of different cultures, and that became the norm for me. So it was helpful.
Now, okay, can you share your journey on YouTube and the challenges you face?
Okay. Well, once upon a time, I was a gospel recording artist, and I was told that it was important if you were an independent artist and you wanted to try to grow and have a substantial career, you needed to develop a following. And when I first started, they said you needed to get an email list. But then it migrated into you need to get social media followers.
Naturally, that
Yeah. And so YouTube was a place that was recommended. And so for 13 years, I really tried to grow on YouTube, but I only had a little over 100 followers for all those years of trying.
and that's over the course of how many years? Like
So
only 100.
13 years, 13,
No way.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
So I was depressed and I get that's
Okay.
not the end of the story.
Relatable. Relate.
Yeah. 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 So an interesting thing happened when the pandemic occurred. One of my high school buddies, Jeff Vargas, he decided to do he called it dudes chat. He decided to have a Zoom for like several of us guys that went to school together to kind of encourage each other, especially because at that time everything was shut down. So we couldn't do a lot. So just get together and have a Zoom. So on the first dudes chat, one of our friends, Kevin, his mother had just died. And so he asked me if I would sing a hymn every morning on Facebook to help him get over the loss of his mother. So at the time when he asked, I hadn't really been doing a lot. I had gotten depressed. I wasn't happy with all the things that were going on in my life. And so when I got this invitation, I really felt that it was very special and it was an opportunity for me to share what I had with someone who was in need. So I started singing every morning. And I realized very soon that Kevin would be happy, but nobody besides Kevin who didn't know me would ever discover what I was doing.
Yeah.
If I had a budget that I could pay, I could um, get some boost ads or something on Facebook, but I didn't have a budget for that. So I did some research and I found that famous entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, he said the best place for business to grow organically was on TikTok.
Mhm.
But TikTok for business? I mean, I had thought that was for girls that danced, right? So, but, but, uh, but apparently I was mistaken. And so I got myself a coach. I laser beam focused on just that one platform. And I figured, okay, I'm going to get rid of the distractions. I'm going to do one thing until I can do it well. Let me figure this out. And since I don't know what I'm doing, obviously, if I spent 13 years on YouTube and I only had 100 followers, I don't know what I'm doing. So I got a coach who knew what he was doing. He suggested that you get several different areas that you're interested in and you make content in those different areas and you allow your audience to teach you what they want from you. So on TikTok, I sang, not convinced that people really wanted to hear me sing.
Oh, wow. That's my next question. I'd like you to sing a little bit for the listeners.
I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't want to get kicked out of my hotel. So I found after doing several different things, the first video that I had that went viral, I took my phone. I was at Chick-fil-A,
Chick-fil-A.
first Chick-fil-A. So I was at the drive-thru and there were a whole bunch of people, really long line. So I videotaped a little bit and then I turned the camera on me and said, "What's so special about Chick-fil-A?" And so it was a short video, but for some reason it resonated with people. So I had like 17,000 views and not very long. And so I learned an important lesson that our audience should pay attention to. It was easier to go viral with a short video than with a long video. So the algorithm is paying attention to how long people watch your video. So I had something that was relatable to the average person. I guess we all eat. And so and I think at the time, many people were curious, yeah, what is so special about Chick-fil-A? And so there was a lot in our culture of discussion. And so it worked because it was a very short video. Then I was just getting someone to pay attention to something for 7 seconds or so. And so that wasn't that hard. It's harder to get people to pay attention for longer. And the algorithm, seeing that people watched the whole thing, said, oh, let's send it out to more people and more people. So that was the first lesson learned. But I did several different kinds of content. And interestingly enough, when I prayed for people, that was one of the things that I did when I sang a hymn in the morning. I would also give an inspirational thought and then I prayed. People really responded to that. And I thought that was odd. I didn't think that anybody would want someone to pray with them when in fact, a lot of people really did. And then the first video that I had that went really viral was when I would take my phone and I would talk to the phone in the way that I wish someone would talk to me to say encouraging things, right? So, like in this case, I said, hey, wait, don't scroll. Don't quit. Don't quit. So I talked about why you shouldn't quit and said things from my heart. And at the end, I said, that's it. No, where is it? No, that's all. That video had over 1 million views. So I learned from that people value authenticity as well as relatability. And so if I learn to make content for what I really needed, like me a few months ago or me a few years ago, then I could find my sweet spot as far as the audience that I can make content for. And so I've been doing that ever since.
So, wow, I am just one question alone. I'm already picking up so many key takeaways. So, number one is that you have to be speaking as if you're speaking one on one to that person. If they were to scroll your content, and then what were you doing wrong before that you were not doing then? Like, were you just showcasing yourself, or how is that like different? Because I too am just this podcasting is just over a little over a year for me, so I also had some help from some people to boost presence. Still, I'm learning as we go, as we speak. So what is the main core difference that you did? Hi, I'm Nierras, your host of the Your Wordless podcast. Now, if this real raw stories hit home, don't wait. Please follow, like, and subscribe my Spotify and YouTube. For bite-sized inspirational reels, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Don't wait. Your transformation starts today. Thank you, and bye for now.
Well, I'm sure you are a charming individual. I'm sure that as people are exposed to you, they will gladly enjoy your content. I
Thank you
think
very
that
much.
you're wel- I think that what I learned was that you have to make content. You have to make content for your avatar. Seems simple, but let me explain a common problem we have. So most people that are on Facebook that I went to school with, either in high school or college, they're posting pictures of their trips. They're posting pictures of their kids. Their kids are getting married now. Some of them have grandkids. So we're enjoying this experience because we already have a relationship with those people. However, if we're trying to create content that is going to affect a larger group of people, then it has to be relatable to a particular pain point problem. So when I show pictures of my sweet daughter, if it's a picture of her and I doing something together and there's emotion attached, then that's relatable, especially if I do a good job of setting it up. And that can be moving for masses. But if I'm just showing, oh, she had choir rehearsal, I'm just so proud of her for having choir rehearsal. And no one cares except for me and
Mm-hmm.
my family. So what we have to do is we have to stop creating content as if we're doing show and tell, unless it aligns with our purpose. And our purpose is to create value for the person or the persons we wish to serve. So if we're creating value for someone, they would like to know, like, and trust us in order to accept more value from us. But it needs to be about them. What is it that they need? What are the problems that they need solved? What keeps them up at night? What's stressing them out? It should be about really helping them with their big problem.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love that. I love that. The question that you said, what keeps you up at night, that's actually one of my flagship questions that I ask all of my guests. Yeah, you hit the nail in the head right there. Okay, David. So I'm sure over the course of 13 years, you must have thought to yourself, this is it. I don't think I'm going to make it. And you had self doubts every day, right? I don't know if every day or how often you feel that way. So, how did that period of self doubt, lack of self confidence, or maybe imposter syndrome even impact your content creation? And what steps did you take to overcome it? Sorry.
It's still a work in progress. It's still a work in progress. Okay.
Same.
Right. So I guess I can call her my friend. I have this wonderful friend she's a life coach and a public speaker, Dr. Kristen Guillory. So a few weeks ago, we hadn't talked in almost 2 years. And so she said, hey, well, let's reconnect. So We had a Zoom and talked for an hour and a half, I think. And one of the things I said to her was, I struggle with self-doubt. What can I do to fix that? And it's the oddest thing because I can logically tell you, like, I did this wonderful thing. So you would think David did this wonderful thing. He should feel good about himself.
Yeah.
Logically, I understand. So let me pick something like, okay, like when I was younger, I wanted to dunk a basketball. So, once I was able to jump high enough and dunk, oh, that was great, Dave. You can dunk a basketball. Okay, well, you should feel wonderful. But then somehow I have an older brother who is shorter than I am, but when he jumps, he floats through the air. So when I jump, it's not as pretty as when he jumps. When he jumps, it's like a work of art. He's just floating. Yeah,
It's just magic.
yeah. He's doing all these cool things. I'm like, wow, why can't I do it like that? And so, what do they say? Comparison is the thief of joy. Um, yeah. So
Yes.
somehow it doesn't matter. There's several. I could go on and list cool things that have happened to me in my life, but for some reason, even after cool thing 7 happens, I still struggle with feeling good. So my friend, Dr. Guillory said, David, I think you need to practice both self-love and self-care. So I'm sharing her advice to me so it could help someone in your audience, or even you if it's ever your experience. She
Thank
said,
you.
you're welcome. She said, David, I want you every morning to talk to yourself in the mirror. Now, you remember in my story, I just shared with you how I created a TikTok of me talking to the phone as if talking to myself, what I wish to hear. Yeah. This is so fascinating because she didn't know that that's part of my secret sauce that helped me to be successful online as a content creator. But she was saying, in essence, for me to do the same kind of thing, but go in the mirror and talk to myself and express love towards myself. David, I love you. I love the way you care deeply about people, David. David, I love the way that you're so passionate about delighting your customers that you will sacrifice where others don't just to make sure that they're okay. I love that about you, David. So I realized that I perhaps there are loving people that meant well in my life who spoke critically of me. And so I speak critically of myself even when I don't notice it over and over again. But like looking at my brothers floating through the air and discounting how wonderful it is when I jump high too, right? So what I have to do then is I have to discipline myself to do this activity of showing love for myself. And literally, as part of my faith as a Christian, I've always looked at sacrificing as my way of showing love to others and to God. But in reality, there's a part where you have to show love for yourself that I never took seriously. But I realized, well, David, if you have this ground zero that you keep coming back to, where you have the self doubt, maybe you need to start on a regular basis demonstrating self love and self care. And so today is a great example. Today is a day when I did some things just for me. And I feel so much better because of that. So you're getting the benefit of me having had a day where I showed myself self care. I had a manicure, pedicure, and I feel so much better. I was very frazzled. I'm here in New York visiting family. I was very frazzled, but now I'm not. I feel much better. And so I would encourage anyone who struggles with imposter syndrome, struggles with self doubt, to learn to practice self love and self care. Talk to yourself lovingly in the mirror. Remind yourself you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Remind yourself of the things that you love about yourself because sometimes you have to encourage yourself. There may not be anyone else to do it.
And how important is a coach? I mean, yeah, coach is important, but also just that's a very, very key point, self-love, because I too struggled with that a couple of years back, and still it's a work in progress. And I had a friend come talk to me. He was not, we only knew each other for a short 3 months, I think. And then he said, Nick, you need to love yourself more. And at the time, I couldn't understand what self love means. I thought, taking myself to the hair salon or getting massages, pedicure is a form of self love. But truly, it's actually much deeper than that. It's looking within, right? And now you said you also approach a life coach for some guidance. So, how important is it? How did that shape you in your journey?
So let me say this. First of all, I played sports, I played basketball in high school. So my freshman year, I tried out. I didn't make the team. My best friend at the time made fun of me.
Are you still friends with him or her?
We're acquaintances. And so interesting thing, I went to basketball camp and interesting, I went to basketball camp and at basketball camp, I got coached. I got strategies from people who were actually doing what it is that I want to do. And so when I came back and then I tried out, I actually not only made the junior varsity team my sophomore year, but I also made the varsity team. I ended up playing with the varsity as well. So by getting coaching, I was able to elevate my game. So in like manner, because I got a coach who already understood how to be successful on social media, particularly at the time, with TikTok, then he was able to give me advice and help me to go further faster. And I now am a coach to help others in the same way because I know how valuable that is. And literally, you don't want to waste time. I love figuring things out. However, what would life be like if I'd gotten a coach the first time I was on social media? Wow, I can imagine my life would be very different, right? Because so for 13 years, I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't get help from a coach. And so I ended up creating content that was really more about me than it was about a group of people that I wanted to serve. And so, there's some relatives of mine, maybe some friends from the different schools that I attended who were curious about David. And maybe some of them liked the song I wrote. So when I did a live recording in 2012, and so when I posted some of the videos from the live recording, well, there were those people who sang in the choir or who liked music that would follow me, but it wasn't a lot of people because I wasn't focused on creating content for a particular group of people. So it's so important to get a coach because a coach will help you not to make that mistake that I was making.
Thank you. And this is why they need to get you as a coach.
Yay!
Yay! Okay. So, what are some common mistakes people make when trying to gain attention online, and how can they avoid them? I think we did talk about this, but then you can
Yes,
list sub
that's
three mistakes.
that's a good question. So I will say this because I've studied a lot of different creators on my journey. I've noticed there's a few who disappeared. And I remember one of my favorites, she took a sabbatical and she came back. And her name is Vanessa Lau. And she has wonderful content and she's brilliant. I love the fact I can go to her content and she has a well thought out process. When she teaches something, it's very thorough. So I I can tell people, hey, go check out Vanessa Lau's content and know they're going to get really powerful content. However, it's very easy to create something because of your perceptions of what's expected. So what is it the algorithm wants? So let me give the algorithm what it wants. Well, you can end up doing something because of expectations of others or your perception of what an algorithm wants, but it not be authentically you. So
Yeah.
the problem is, what happens if you get really good at that? Then you're going to end up creating content that you don't really care about because you're trying to be popular. There was a
Oh,
group, isn't that horrible? There was a group called To the Extreme, and they wrote a very beautiful song called More Than Words Can Say. It's really pretty. If my voice were in shape and it weren't,
I love
full.
that song.
Yeah, okay. It's a pretty song. I think it sold 7 million. And unfortunately, it was as beautiful as it was and as much of a hit as it was actually a bad thing. A bad thing? Well, yeah, it was a bad thing because their music, if you went to buy one of their albums, it didn't sound like that hit. It was so and so unfortunately, if you love that ballad and then you wanted to go get their project, you wouldn't get but one song that was like the ballad. So that danger of you doing something, and I'm not suggesting that they just did that because they wanted to be popular. I think they probably someone decided to express their love through a wonderful ballad, and it was great. Unfortunately, because of their audience and what their audience was used to, they became famous for something that didn't align with who they really were. And it
Which
was,
is that rock.
yeah. And so, likewise, if we try to become famous by becoming something that we're not, it's bad news because then when we become ourselves, oh, well, people aren't really interested in us, right? Because we became something that we're not. So I encourage people to be authentic. That's the biggest mistake that I see people making is trying to be something that you're not. So, so let me give an example, a winning example of imitation. And so I just must like you or something. I'm giving you my secret sauce today. One of the things that is very helpful in your journey is for you to do research in your particular vertical.
Excuse me. I think there must be somebody at the door. Can you just give me? Yeah. Okay. Yes. I will edit this out from the interview, but yeah. Or maybe we could keep it, right?
Hey, it's okay.
I kept some of my, funny moments with my guests. Okay, we'll keep it. Yes, sorry, David, you were saying.
So, secret sauce. So,
Uh-huh.
what is it that you desire to be known for?
Becoming a podcast host was a natural extension of my second act. Now, after spending 15 years in the corporate world, I've transitioned to helping individuals overcome challenges like navigating tough relationships, career burnout, and aligning their mission with their soul's calling. By certifying as an RTT hypnotherapist and a lifestyle coach, I've made it my mission to empower people to recreate the life they deserve and building a supportive community through my podcast. Now, let me ask, are you facing challenges like struggling to reprogram your mind to attract wealth, weight issues that feel like a constant yo yo, insomnia or restless nights from daily worries, or just a lack of confidence in public speaking? If the answer is yes, visit www.thenierrasholisticlifestyle.com and grab a free hypnosis audio of these common struggles. It's a sneak peek into how my coaching works. Are you feeling shy? Don't be, because I'm as real as it gets. Let's connect on Instagram and LinkedIn and start your transformation today.
I'm going to, make it relate to you.
Right. Wow. That I am as authentic as it gets and I'm as real as it gets. And it's okay to fail often. But as long as you're failing forward, you're making progress.
Okay, so are you a mindset coach? Is this the big?
Yeah, a lifestyle coach and a hypnotherapist as well.
So, thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
If I be you, I would
Okay.
then go look at people who I admire and I would go on their page and I would go try to find the 5 top performing short form videos, either on their IG or on TikTok, YouTube Shorts. And I would create a spreadsheet and you can either put the link or you can go ahead and, there's software, there are websites that rip them for you, but take those 5 write the analytic stuff, like number of views, number of likes, number of comments beside them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start analyzing them to go, okay, well, let's make a theory. Why did this do so well?
Mm-hmm.
Was it because of, here's something strange. Was it because they used a popular song in the background? So trending music is a tool that people have used to make their content go viral. Was it because it was something that was quick paced? So, okay, so they had jump cuts every 2 seconds. So is that why it did well? But I want you to go ahead and make your theory as to why you think it did well. And then do that for several other people in your particular vertical. And then pick one of those videos. There's a longer process, but I don't want to bore you and your audience. So pick one of those videos and then create your version of it. Create your version of it. What do I mean? Well, if at the beginning it had 2 seconds where there was a question, can you tell me this? If that was what happened at the beginning, then you do the same thing with your particular question. And so
Right.
let's say the second scene was B-roll of the subject walking to the store.
Right.
Create B-roll of you walking to the store. You create the same kind of video that they made, but you use your message, but you use the frame that you see them successfully use. What happens is the algorithm will go, we recognize this frame and it's very effective. Let's send this out to more people. And so you get the benefit of using a frame that's already been successful. But because I encouraged you not to do exactly what they did, but to do your version of it, then it's still going to be authentic to you. This is how we're not being fake, but we're learning techniques to allow our authentic self to be more effective. Does that make sense?
Oh, wow. That should be people who are enrolled in your program, right? And you just let us in on your secret. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so I would be creating content such as now I don't you mentioned B-roll, that's the placing of camera on a certain angle and then you walk in and then you edit it, right? So do you edit all by yourself, like your content, or do you have a team to help you out with them?
Okay. Well, my answer to that is I started out doing everything myself. And then I learned that I should use who, not how. There are a series of books written by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. I don't know if you've ever read any of their books, but one of them is called The Gap in the Gain. Another is X is easier than 2X. And then the third, I believe, is Who Not. So, Who Not How. These are great books. You should read them or you should get a summary of them because they're very helpful to you on your entrepreneur journey. Who Not How is suggesting that instead of figuring out how to do something, you're better served at finding someone who's better at it than you are. It's their thing, right? And then
Mm.
figuring out a way, maybe it's barter, or maybe you pay for it. Maybe you find someone who's trying to get testimonials, and so they're willing to do some work for free. But get someone else who does the thing that you need to do it, so it can be done at the highest level. Who, not how. What happens is, even the most bright individuals of us, if you keep diluting and you keep learning more and more stuff, then it's hard for you to become excellent at anything because you're just spread really broad. And so you're trying to master 50 things. But if you just focus in and make a priority, 80% of the time I'm doing this thing that I'm great at, then you become greater at the thing that you're great at. So I would encourage everyone, it's not that expensive. It may seem like it's expensive, but it's possible for you to get editors for not very much money. And maybe you're just having them help you on one video a week initially, but eventually you'll be able to get more and more help. And what that does is it helps you to elevate your game. So there are some things that you can learn how to do, but long term, that's what I would suggest.
I totally agree with that. I remember Steve Jobs saying, hire somebody smarter than you to, if you're an if you are not an engineer and you need somebody to work on a tool or a device that you're trying to make, hire somebody that's good at that rather than you spending hours in front of Coursera or Udemy. Learn. Okay. Thank you for that, David. Can you describe the mindset shift that were essential for you to move from obscurity to meaningful connections online?
That literally, if I made it about, well, so first step is I am not going to show up just to be popular. I'm going to get clarity on who I am, who it is that I serve, how it is that I serve them, what's my unique offering, and what's the problem that I solve. And then once I'm getting clear on how it is that I want to, it's funny because you have to remind yourself of this at different points. I'm having to remind myself of this now because many successful entrepreneurs, Alex Hormozy is one of them, will say, if
Yeah,
you haven't,
Alex
yes, he's great. So
and
if you have,
Layla. Yeah.
yes, I love her too. If you haven't reached $1 million in revenue, you should focus in on one avatar, one offer, one platform. What happens is it's very easy to get shiny object syndrome, right? And something new happens. So, wow, there's this new way to get clients. Oh, really? I want to read about it. Okay. Wow, let me try it out. Well, hold on. I thought you were mastering the first way that you learned. Yeah, I was, but that's boring. This new one's much more exciting. But what happens is over and over again, every couple months, there's some new way coming out. And then you end up not mastering any of the ways because you keep thinking there's some new shiny object that's going to do what you need done. When in fact, perfecting any of the options would have been better than jumping around. Yeah. So we have to guard the mind. A growth mindset is wonderful. We just have to guard against getting distracted, trying too many different things at once. We need to laser beam focus, figure out what's the most important thing, and then have everything aligned to the most important thing. And to be dogmatic about it, because when you do, that's when you get astronomical results. I would post and hardly see any progress for, 35 days. Then I'd see a little something and then hardly anything else. Then maybe day 62, all of a sudden I went viral. If I gave up at day
Wow.
47, I would have
Exactly.
never gone viral. So you have to make a commitment that you're going to go through the process, right? Because if you don't, then when things get hard, you quit right before you would have seen your success and your breakthrough.
Mhm.
Okay.
Patience and resilience, because there's no shortcut to success. You can't take the elevator, you have to take the stairs. I mean, those words ring true, but still, time and time again, no matter how AI is being, I don't know, technological advancement is saying, okay, you can do this faster, but there is no shortcut. You just have to double down on what you believe in, what your focus is, and just cut out all the noises. And it's so easy to get overwhelmed or be drowned by the tsunami of information, right? Because everything is just bombarded towards us every single time. Everybody is trying to get our attention. The moment we scroll, what's this? So it is up to us to cultivate that mindset and be very clear on that. Thank you, David. Okay, what are you working on currently?
Currently have relaunched Content Creating Academy.
Ooh,
And
okay.
I'm excited about that because I learned so much from the first time I launched a group coaching program. What I learned, one of the main things I learned was people say, David, you have over 1 million followers. Wow, this is cool. I want to have over 1 million followers too. But they don't really want to do what it
The
takes.
work.
Yeah. They don't. And so what would be better is to go, well, what is your actual goal? So there's a coach that I admire. And I remember when I first discovered her, I said, wow, she has great content, but she didn't have that many followers. But I thought, like, the kind of content she had, I was like, nah, if she isn't big already, she's on her way to being big. Like, she's major. Like, what she's saying is really quality. Well, I ended up going to one of her workshops, and then ended up joining one of her communities later on. But she was saying that she was going to Florida to ClickFunnels event. I don't know if you're familiar with ClickFunnels,
Mm-hmm.
but okay. So Russell Brunson's software that allows you to build funnels, they have this
Wow.
annual event, and she was going to be receiving the 2 Comma Club Award, which means,
Wow.
well, they sold at least $1 million.
Yeah.
So, but here it is, I have maybe 20 times as many followers as she does online, but she generated over $1 million from one follower and I didn't. So with that in mind, just you can have a 6-figure business and not have 1,000 followers. And so
Oh, I love that.
it's so important to focus on what really matters. Because when we chase, I don't like the term vanity metrics. However, I get it. I get why people say don't chase vanity metrics. I don't, I like having the followers that I have. I like the comments and the likes and the shares. But if you have a business, you have to like those other things, but you have to like the dollars that you have brought in. Because if not, then you have a time consuming hobby and not a business.
That is so true. Time consuming hobby and not business because you want to take yourself away from the business and have it run on itself where you're away on a holiday, right? And
Yeah, I want to be like you.
systems are all in place, and there are people, there's some helping you around while you go and live out your whatever it is that you want to do, because that's the whole point of starting out a business in the first place. Moving, at least for me, moving from a 9 to 5 to an entrepreneur. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, David. Okay, we're gonna pivot to a self-worth question before we close it off. Um, Now the question for you: how do you personally define self-worth, and what practices have you found effective in maintaining a healthy sense of?
Find self-worth.
Mhm.
It's a work in progress, but let me see if I can answer your question this way. I've been watching several high performing individuals on their podcasts, some who are authors, and I watched several of them admit that they got to the goal that they thought was the thing. And then they realized, wow, I'm here. How come I still feel like crap? Yeah,
Nice. Yes, I got it.
yeah.
But
They had leveraged how they felt about themselves to cause themselves to work harder and often smarter than their neighbors. And yet when they got the results, they weren't happy. So self-worth is when you actually understand that you are special. You have worth. You are beautiful. You are worthy of love and respect without you doing anything else. And if you want to leverage your feelings of self-doubt to do astronomical things, hey, I've done it and I've seen other famous people do it. But just realize at the end of that journey, you're still going to have to go back and learn how to love yourself.
wow, that's amazing. What is your heart's greatest wish?
My heart's greatest wish, you want my selfish greatest wish?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My greatest wish is that I have an opportunity uninhibited by my self-doubt to share the message of self-love and self-care with people around the world, because I really feel that is what I am made for. That's my wish.
And I felt that. David, you are truly wonderful. I don't have any words for this right now. You are just um I always believe in the term or the word or the sentence, Don't look at the messenger, look at the message. Right now, I feel like God is speaking to me through you. So thank you.
Very well.
If you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
In your darkest moment, you will find the light when you stop looking at yourself to make someone else's day bright.
Thank you. How can people reach out to you?
If you have a question, you can email me. I'm David at contentcreatingacademy.com. David at contentcreatingacademy.com.
Is there anything else that you want to leave the audience with?
I'm grateful for this time that we shared together. I'm grateful for you sharing your platform with me. And I would be so excited to know that anyone in your audience took the time to take action on any one thing that we talked about today. Because it's wonderful entertainment if you don't, but it's life-changing.
Wow, where are you based, David? Because I was in New York and I was in LA this September. So and I plan to return. So while I'm away, like while I'm here in Malaysia, I am actually coming up with a retreat, and I'm gathering some of my podcast guests, to come and speak with me for an event. Details are still being thought out, but I would love to know where you are, because I feel there's I found like a soul tribe, a soul. Yeah.
Right now, I'm in New York, but I live in Maryland, at about 20 minutes from Washington, D.C.
Okay. Right. So I haven't explored the other parts of the States, but I know Boston is about 4 hours from New York, and Maryland. Okay, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll definitely figure it out. Yeah, I would love to talk about the details with you. Okay, maybe we can do that offline. And for our listeners, there you have it. You've heard an inspiring journey and incredible wisdom from David Griffiths. Thank you for sharing the work you're doing to the world to uplift others and make a lasting impact. Despite the challenges, David, you're paving the way for others, and your dedication is a true testament to resilience and purpose. This has been another thought-provoking episode of You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. If you've ever felt worthless, know this, you're not alone. But here's the deeper truth. If you were truly worthless, why would your soul choose to be here in this exact moment, in this lifetime? Your soul traveled from the infinite, not just to exist, but to matter. And for that reason alone, you are worthy. And with that, I'd like to thank David Griffiths for joining us today, and to all of you for listening. Until next time, I am Nierras, your host. Keep shining, keep growing, and remember, you are worthy and you are enough. See you in the next episode. Thank you so much, David, for your time.
You're welcome.